Okay.
So EA and Lucasfilm Games have announced 3 new Star Wars games in development at Respawn Entertainment.
Double nice.
Number 1, the sequel to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Number 2, Star Wars FPS, an all-new FPS. And a Star Wars strategy game. So this joins the Star Wars Eclipse game that's being developed by Quantic Dream. At least 4 Star Wars games in development. And who knows what's happening with Battlefield, or Battlefront, I should say. I think
5 Star Wars games in development because we've got Ubisoft. Forget the studio, but the Division Studio is also working on Star Wars.
We could add a 6 because the Lego Star Wars game's not out yet.
Maybe that counts.
Actually, maybe I'm wrong on that one. Let me look it up. I know there's another Star Wars game in development. I think they're working on Avatar. That's why I was getting confused.
So going back to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, very well received game. In the context of EA getting their ass handed to them with the Star Wars license. One of the games that, got past that level and people were very happy with. So the game director...
Good game. Really good game.
Stig... What style of game is it, Mike?
A Souls-inspired Metroidvania-like Bloodborne
Excellent
game.
Sorry, I'll just confirm that is the case. So they're working on Star Wars and Avatar, so I wasn't wrong. So.
Cool.
Oh. And the game director, Stig Asmussen, and his team at the studio are already working on the new title. Mm-hmm. In the Jedi... What is this in the Star Wars Jedi series? Is that what they're calling it?
Yeah, so that's why I highlighted that. Which is weird to me because, like...
So this is like Horizon.
Yeah, like, I never thought of this as Star Wars Jedi. I know it's like Jedi Fallen Order. Like, to think of the series Star Wars Jedi is weird because that's to me like Jedi Knight and stuff.
No one has ever said Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. They always go Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Or just Jedi Fallen Order,
Yeah, but there's never a pause after the Jedi.
Yeah.
Do we know much about what? So this kind of game would be awesome if it had some more RPG elements, like the older Star Wars games, but with this kind of gameplay, because the gameplay was freaking awesome, really solid. And the other thing, though, that I hope they do in the next one is a bit more choice about whether you want to be a badass Jedi or whether you want to go more into the Sith. I feel like your path was too determined and linear in this one, which makes sense because of the kind of game that it was. So I'm hoping in number 2 they open that up again because they were sick about some of the older games.
I think it's always hard to do that well. Like there's a weird line with that one.
It is, but I have faith in Respawn. They did a really good job with this game. I love playing it. I kept getting drawn to finishing it. It wasn't like one of the games that you had to retire because you got bored of it. This was an excellent game. I loved it.
Yeah, I've never really heard bad things about the game. Like, the biggest thing is, like, people go, yeah, it's really good. Like, really, really good. That's the worst I've heard. With the Star Wars FPS, an all-new Star Wars first-person shooter game led by Peter Hirschmann, the game director at Respawn, who has a long history with the Star Wars franchise. If you look through his bio, there's a stack of Star Wars games there. So, we don't know anything more about it than that, right, Swinny? It's like...
No, but I mean, they gave us 3 announcements at once, so I don't begrudge them for not telling us more about it. It is like when I think Star Wars first-person shooters, obviously you got your Battlefront and stuff like that, but I do think... Wait, is Battlefront first-person shooter or is that third-person, Mike? Is it...
No, it's first-person.
It is first, okay, right.
Yeah.
For some reason, there's a part of me that's
like...
because
it's third-person.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
anyway,
also
I just didn't want to be wrong on that. But I think I think Dark Force is Jedi Knight. To me, that's like when I think FPS. But the big part with this, while they're actually no, it's the strategy one we'll get to in a second. But I mean, Respawn's bread and butter is first-person shooters. They're obviously their lineage from Infinity Ward and Call of Duty onto Titanfall and Apex Legends and everything. So if anything, it's going to play incredibly well. So
that's true. And then, as you touched on, the strategy game. So the third title is a strategy game developed in collaboration with the new studio Bit Reactor, helmed by industry veteran Greg Foerstch.
Some names in this episode. I feel sorry for you.
Foerstch. I feel like that's the best way that I can say.
Yeah.
So they'll produce the game, Respawn, and Bit Reactor will lead the development. So, and I'm excited. I know everyone hates Quantic Dream, but I'm excited about the Star Wars Eclipse game as well. So there's a cavalcade of Star Wars games coming out. I mean, like, I think I'm going to get on the Lego Star Wars game, man. I think I'm getting in on that game.
So the big thing out of this to me is, oh my god, the absolute like confidence that EA have in Respawn. You know, obviously Fallen Order was very well received, sold a lot, but to then go and essentially say you're working on 3 titles now, even if you're not solely developing one of them. But you know, the side reports, there's reports out there saying that, you know, they're essentially moving any work that was potentially happening on a Battlefront 3 is now no longer happening. Like, so basically it's like this is essentially a Star Wars at the moment, which is kind of nuts. It's all under Respawn. So
yeah, because we should just remind the audience that EA had an exclusivity deal with Star Wars essentially to make games for, I felt like 10 years, but it must have been shorter than that. I think it was like 7 years or something like that. And that is expired, but even so, Star Wars and, you know, Lucasfilm Games and EA seem to still want to do a lot of business with each other, which is interesting. Because I think some people's view was like, you'll be lucky to get Jedi Fallen Order 2 following, you know, the expiration of the exclusivity agreement. But yeah, look, it just seems to maybe they've opened it up to more people, but, you know, they're still pretty happy with EA. So and Squadrons was a pretty good game as well. I played a bit of that. Like, I really enjoyed that as well. So there's been some decent Star Wars games recently. Yeah. All right. In other